Ever felt like you're building something that's meant to last, something bigger than just the next quarter's profits? We recently had the chance to sit down with a true visionary, Nana Serwa Mancell, an entrepreneur who is redefining what it means to build a sustainable legacy. Her story is one of incredible grit, vision, and a deep connection to her roots. Nana isn't your typical entrepreneur. She started her journey as a self-taught chef, diving deep into the rich flavors of West African cuisine. Her passion and talent didn't go unnoticed. Imagine this. With no formal training, she steps into the highly competitive Pro Chef Middle East competition and walks away with an award. That's the kind of drive we're talking about.
Today, let's have some great conversations. Sit back and enjoy.
Without further ado, I'd like to ask you, what exactly do you do? And for people that don't know who you are, tell us who you are.
Right. So my name is Nana Serwa Mancell, and what I do has a lot to do with where I've just been. So at the moment, I'm in transition. I am setting up a space in Accra, Ghana, which is a venue that will host retreats, meetings, cultural exchanges, aligned with the things that I believe in. And everything I do has two underlining things, which is sustainability and also joy. I have recently left Dubai after 20 years of living in Dubai. And when I was there, I essentially had two main brands that I purposely built as brand building exercises, understanding that I would leave Dubai and then I would want to grow these in the places that I move to next. So essentially, I'm a vegan chef who has a plant-based food brand called Vegana. Okay. And I also have a sustainable fashion brand and a deep interest in sustainability and also fabric. So I'm wearing here something called Mali Mad cloth or Bogalan. And I believe our modern systems have taught us that the two things are somehow separate, what we put on our mouths and what we put on our bodies, but they're very much, they have a lot in common in that for most of us, we have control of over what we eat and what we wear. Not everybody, but for most of us adults. And the two biggest polluting in terms of causing harm to the environment, socially, economically, are both the fashion and the food industry. So anybody who wants to make a change there can start by making personal change with what they eat and they wear. And being proudly African Ghanaian in particular, I feel that my traditions of West African traditions have a lot to inform these two areas. So that's me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I really want to know what inspired you in the creation of Vegana. And how has that journey been for you so far?
So the inspiration of Vegana is what I always tell to especially when I meet, especially those of us women who I never left. I never stopped working. I have 3 children, but I was blessed to have worked all the way through. But sometimes I meet people who are stuck or at a junction, and they're waiting for this idea that they believe in, that is profitable, that is satisfying all these things to come to them somewhere from within. And Vegana taught me that don't let that follow your dream. You can literally randomly pick your dream and see how that goes. So I was working what I believed was my dream job just before the pandemic hit. And I was running media for the Emirates Literature Festival after a career doing freelance PR marketing, corporate communications. I saw this job, which was working with the Literature Festival, and I'm an avid and compulsive reader. So I thought, hey, this aligns the two things, my experience and my interest. It's going to be fantastic. And I did this job for a few years, and I even won a wonderful award for one of the best consumer campaigns. But somehow I wasn't happy, and it wasn't it. And It's one of the biggest literature festivals in the world. So sponsored by Emirates, flying in about 200 authors. So I really got to meet and be with everybody in the kind of literature and nonfiction world that I admired. But it somehow still wasn't, I didn't feel like I'd landed anywhere in any way, either purposely or financially, or, it wasn't fulfilling a lot of things. But there I was, happily going along with it. And the pandemic hit, and I knew that there wasn't going to be another big festival around the corner. Like, this isn't asking 200 authors to fly from around the world. So that wasn't going to happen. So I knew my job was gone, and I thought, what next? Eek. And I've been hearing all my life, but I've never listened to it. Do what you most enjoy. That one thing. And also the second thing is that you can be whatever you want to be. And these things that always seem to be like, yeah, they're a little bit like mantras out there. I didn't believe it. So I thought, what can I do? And so building Vegana was really what can I do that I can do a little bit? Not what can I do that I believe in, or what can I do that's profitable? It was like, what's the only thing I think I can kind of pick up? At the time, I loved cooking. I had devoted so much of my time to cooking, but I had done a law degree, I'd worked in corporate communications. Being a chef or cooking just seemed to me like something, a hobby, nothing to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And
How was the transition from Dubai all the way to Ghana and opening up Vegana? Like how many years has that been since you
so I've
started?
always known that Vegana, I was telling the story the long way around. I always knew that Vegana as a food brand, I wanted to build a brand. I always understood that I didn't necessarily want to rise up as a caterer or be the best chef, but I wanted to be a kind of activist entrepreneur, educating people about food and promoting food. So I always knew it was going to be a tough ride
Yeah.
that would involve certain pivots. So Dubai allowed me the opportunity to build the brand and all the events. So it's been tough because as you make plans, life also throws things at you. But on the other hand, it's also been a lot easier than I thought. The past year has been, physically and financially challenging, but I did have a kind of let's say, a 10-year plan that I've been working on to finish this house. So that has helped me along. Yeah.
Great. That moves us to the question of the challenges. Like what's in details, like examples of the challenges that you've seen, like why are starting up your vegan?
Yeah. So I think the challenges are all across all business. So we all struggle with finance. We all struggle with recruitment and finding the right people for your team. So those are there. For me, as I always say, one of my biggest challenges, especially when I'm working in many ways as a one-man team, is myself. Making sure that I'm motivated, driven, not distracted. So handling myself is probably one of my biggest challenges, and also reminding myself always to kind of to dream big and not be stuck sometimes with the little details and perfectionism and that sort of thing. To kind of, this part is okay, it's fine, let it go, approve it, fine, and move on. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about financial assistance, is it easy to access finances in Ghana?
So I haven't actually tried. For the next phase of my journey. Actually, that's what I'm going to be doing. I intend to fundraise for my next project, which is to do with my fashion brand. So I'm going to be on a learning curve. With my businesses till now, I've kind of started from very small scale and build it up myself without any extra finance. Um, but what I have found is how sometimes if you're imaginative and creative, people will allow you to
Yeah.
piggyback on their own success. And certainly, for instance, when I was in Dubai and building my food brand, kitchen space is very, very expensive. So I went to an old client from my corporate communications days and said, this is what I want to do. I know you own a load of hotels. Do you have a kitchen space for me? Because I can't start a commercial food brand without a commercial kitchen. And he just said, yes, here you go at these, very, very cheap rates. So sometimes networking and putting yourself out there really helps with the finances. Yeah.
Yeah, so we go back a bit to your chef work. I also noticed that you won an award at the Pro Chef Middle East. What was that like for you? What was the experience like for you?
The whole experience was it was a life lesson. So whenever I was first invited, it was a big surprise. So at first I was flattered, and then I realized, my God, you are not a professional chef. I don't have any professional training, and my food business was a small scale business. So I cook and I come up with a recipe and how it looks and the nutrition content and how we're going to scale. But then I would hand over to my team who do the day-to-day cooking. So I don't necessarily have that strong in commercial kitchen experience. It's very different from cooking from a kitchen at home. Yeah. So there was that part that I don't have those skills. And also I'm cooking West African food, which is very different from competition food, which has to look a certain way and which is cooked quite quickly. A lot of our West African food is stews and swallows and things that they're not meant for these sorts of competitions. Yeah. And also all the rules. So initially I kind of went flattered to be asked, and then I thought, no, I cannot do this. And then I thought, no, you need to do this because you don't have professional qualifications. So in a way, if you do this and you do well, just taking part gives you a kind of a stamp of a professional chef. So once I went into it, I was gung ho. I was determined. I kind of understood that it would be secret ingredients and what I could do with that. So I put myself practicing, but the competition itself was extremely tough. It was kind of 5 hours with professional chefs and interviewing and cooking live and plating and the whole thing. So, and I was cooking with in my category 9 chefs from very, very big brands. Like Dubai's Atlantis or Hilton and my little brand, but I was determined and yes, it was amazing to win.
Great. Congrats on that once
Thank
again.
you.
I also noticed on your website that you have a couple of rooms. I wanted to ask if you're into the rental space as well.
So what I did with Vegana, my food brand, as I always said, I knew it was a brand. I wanted to first build a brand and see where I would take it. So what I've done now is in Ghana, I've opened up a space where I can I have up to in two buildings, I have up to 8 bedrooms.
Okay.
And I want to use that space to host retreats. Okay. I want people to look again at their relationship with traveling to Africa.
Great.
And then their relationship with themselves and with their understanding of creativity. So right now in Ghana, we have the phenomenon across West Africa. We have the phenomenon of Dirty December and a lot of people flying in to essentially to party. Yeah. And also there's that goes on December. And then now throughout the year, you have a lot of people finding their African roots. So they're coming back, visiting the slave castles, doing naming ceremonies. So having this very meaningful reintroduction to their roots. But I feel what's missing is the future, both of themselves and also of Africa, or of Ghana. Like now that you've connected with your Africanness, where are you taking it? So I want to create a space where you can come and learn, for instance, arts and crafts, be pottery, basket weaving. And we understand now that a very strict executive needs these kinds of skills to calm down his nervous system, to take yourself away from screens. A space where we will teach people also things like how to be, how to understand the future of Africa and economics and where it's going, and not just the cliched version of coming home, getting your new name, and then what? So I'm very much using that space for people to come and experience the future of themselves and the future of their relationship with Ghana.
Great, great. And I must say the spaces looking are amazing. It's looking
Thank
great.
you.
So further, we want to know how has entrepreneurship changed you?
In every way, in every way. It's it's a whole 360 change. So there's the daily challenge of getting up and showing up for yourself. And whenever I worked within corporate, I always believed that I was working my discipline, I could be disciplined if I was working with somebody else. And I used to say things like, oh, I don't have the discipline to work for myself, or, oh, I don't know what I want and what I want to do. But once you become an entrepreneur of any sort, that's why I say just start. Don't worry about what you believe in. You will quickly find that you need to be doing what you want to do. You need to make money. You need to push your brand. So you will quickly find yourself actually understanding what it is that you want to do. So, and the whole entrepreneurship journey, I started it without believing in myself, without knowing what my values were. I didn't have any of these things. But in doing it, I soon understood that I was interested in sustainability, and that it's something that I believe also sells. As a topic for a niche brand, and all the things that I'm now deeply interested in came from the entrepreneurship journey. It also taught me to value other things, not just the paycheck at the end of the month,
Great.
and also to understand how to use my intuition, which has led me into all sorts of journeys. So when I was doing freelance corporate communications, I would never go to a client and say, well, I didn't go for that campaign because my intuition told me it was wrong. You know, you wouldn't do that. You'd go for the logic. Whereas now I do base a lot of decisions on just trying to home in my intuition, for which you have to be, your mental health and your physical health have to be good. Yeah. And we all have, as humans, a sixth sense of what we think is good for us or good for our businesses.
What do you think is the future for brands like yours?
I think the future for brands like mine is absolutely great. So what I do know, and I'm doing my research, is that as AI is rising, strong personal brands, handmade things, purpose-led brands, experience-led events are absolutely what's also rising. So I believe I'm very much in the right space going forward. I mean, I don't have the figures in my head, but for Ghana, for instance, for my house in Ghana, I know that tourism for experiences is rising way up like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and also corporate people, business people, all sorts of people wanting to take some meaningful time out is something that has become very big. And with AI, people wanting to have human contact, doing something, learning hand skills is also something that's growing. So I think the future for people doing what I'm doing is bright.
That's amazing to hear. We'd like to know what advice would you give to the young professionals right now trying to start up a brand like yours?
So I would say have a long-term vision. What I found with a lot of small businesses that I come across is because they don't have a long-term vision. When they when they get to year one, year two, year three, they perceive a lack of financial success as possible failure, and then they want to get out of it. But if you have a long-term vision, I've had held on to Vegana and went back to corporate communications to make money for my day-to-day and go back to Vegana. So I wasn't judging myself on the kind of, you know, my bottom line or my financial overview each year, but rather where my brand was going. And
Like
and
focused on a long-term growth, so to
yes, so
say.
if you're focused on your long-term growth, I have a very, very fixed 15-year vision of where I want my brands to be. So when you understand that right from the start, when you meet people, when you're doing things, you're working towards your long-term goal, and you're not judging yourself by early pitfalls and early failures. You understand that you're on a big arc that will go like this as you climb up.
How would you describe the motherland to diasporans?
So I would say the motherland is what you want it to be. You can see it as a place where you can go and fulfill your dreams. There is currently, I would say, space for people to come and fulfill, whether it's financial or personal needs, because it's growing, and anybody who understands anything about the future of Africa knows that Ghana is right in there at the moment. So in terms of culturally, safety-wise, financially, it's a very, very positive place to come and do business, or come and grow yourself further, buy a piece of land for your dream home one day. And I really think that anybody with you don't have to be African, but anybody who wants to understand what the future is going to be, Ghana is a really good place to start, because of our young population, because of our our love for our traditions still. And there's a whole dynamic kind of vibe with entrepreneurs and innovation it's wonderful to be part of. Yeah. So I think Ghana is great at the moment.
Great. That's amazing to hear. Would you like to share your online platforms, like how people can reach out
Yes.
to you
So
for your business?
people can follow me. At the moment, I am growing my Vegana business and our new Villa Vegana, which we think looks fantastic. So people can follow me at Vegana, which is VEGHANA _life. LIFE. So Vegana _life.
Great. Thank you, Nana. It was
Yeah.
so wonderful to have you on this meeting. You're a great personality, and I want to say thank you for making out this time to join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a lovely day.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.